You walk into a room and someone says, "So, how was your weekend?" 3 words, completely harmless, and yet something in your chest tightens immediately. Your mind goes blank. Not empty, but completely blank, like a screen that just lost its signal. You search for something to say, anything at all, but the words simply do not come. And the silence that follows feels like the longest silence of your entire life. Meanwhile, everyone around you seems to do this effortlessly, like it costs them absolutely nothing. It costs you everything. And the worst part is that you have no idea why. You are not shy, you are not unintelligent, you just cannot do small talk. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what is happening inside your brain, and why it has nothing to do with your personality. When most people hear the phrase social anxiety, they picture someone who is terrified of public speaking or cannot walk into a crowded room. But the person we are talking about today is nothing like that. They can have deep, meaningful conversations for hours without any difficulty. They can speak confidently about topics they care about, hold their own in serious discussions, and connect deeply with people they trust. But the moment someone walks up and asks about the weather or their weekend plans, something inside them completely shuts down. And that specific pattern, confident in depth, completely frozen in small talk, is not random, and it is not a personality flaw. It is your nervous system doing exactly what it was trained to do, based on experiences you may not even consciously remember anymore. Today we are going through 5 reasons why small talk feels like a psychological trap, and by the end of this video you will finally understand what is actually happening inside you, and why it was never about confidence at all. Reason 1. Your brain has learned to treat small talk as a threat. For most people, casual conversation is completely low stakes. It requires almost no mental effort and carries very little emotional risk. But for people who struggle with small talk, something very different is happening beneath the surface. Their nervous system has learned, through experience, to treat casual social situations as genuinely dangerous. Not physically dangerous, but socially dangerous. The threat of being judged, of saying the wrong thing, of being seen as boring or strange or difficult to talk to. And here is the part that most people never understand. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a real physical threat and a social one. When that threat signal activates, your body responds the same way it would if you were in actual danger. Your heart rate increases slightly, your muscles tighten, and most critically, your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for language, creativity, and social thinking, goes partially offline. This is why your mind goes completely blank at the exact moment you need it most. The words are in there, you have plenty of them, but your brain has temporarily cut off access to them because it is in protection mode. It is not weakness and it is not shyness. It is your brain's threat response activating in a situation that does not actually require it. And the frustrating part is that you know the situation is harmless, but knowing that does absolutely nothing to stop the response from happening. That gap between what you know logically and what your body does automatically is one of the most exhausting things about struggling with small talk. You end up not only managing the conversation but also managing your own internal alarm system at the exact same time. Reason 2. Your brain processes differently than small talk requires. Small talk has a very specific rhythm. Someone says something light, and you are expected to immediately bounce something light back without pausing, without thinking, and without any real depth. It is fast, automatic, and almost entirely surface level. But your brain is not wired for that kind of rapid, automatic response. You are wired to pause, to reflect, to consider multiple angles before you speak. When someone asks you a casual question, your brain does not just retrieve one simple answer. It pulls up multiple associated thoughts, possible follow-up questions, potential misunderstandings, and layers of context all at the same time. And by the time your brain has finished processing all of that, the moment has passed, the silence has grown uncomfortable, and you are left feeling like you failed at something that everyone else finds completely effortless. Psychologists call this a processing style mismatch. Your natural way of thinking is simply incompatible with the speed and shallowness that small talk demands. This is also why you are so much more comfortable in deeper conversations, because depth gives your brain the time and the complexity it needs to actually function well. When the topic is meaningful, when there is real substance to explore, your brain lights up and the words come easily. But strip away the depth, demand instant responses about nothing in particular, and your brain stalls. Not because something is wrong with you, but because you are running the wrong software for the situation. Reason 3. Small talk is exhausting in a way other people do not experience. Most people assume that if a conversation is casual and light, it should be easy and low effort. But for people who struggle with small talk, the opposite is true. Casual conversation is often more draining than a serious, focused discussion. Here is why. When you are in a small talk situation, your brain is not just listening to the words being spoken, it is simultaneously monitoring the other person's tone of voice, reading their facial expressions, scanning their body language for signs of boredom or judgment, calculating the safest possible response, and checking whether your own face and body language look normal and relaxed. That is 5 separate processes running at the same time, completely beneath your conscious awareness. By the time a 5-minute conversation is over, your brain has burned through an enormous amount of energy, far more than the average person in the same situation. And because small talk rarely leads anywhere meaningful, there is no sense of reward or connection at the end of it. You walk away feeling depleted, slightly hollow, and vaguely anxious. And you have nothing to show for it. This is why many people who hate small talk begin to avoid social situations altogether. Not because they dislike people, but because the energy cost is simply too high for what they get in return. And avoidance makes everything worse over time, because the less you do it, the more threatening it feels, and the more your brain reinforces the idea that small talk is something to be feared and escaped. Reason 4. You are afraid of being misunderstood before you even open your mouth. People who struggle with small talk often have a very specific inner experience that almost nobody talks about. Before they say a single word, a part of their brain is already running calculations. If I say what I actually think, will they understand it? Will they judge it? Will they find it strange or too much or not enough? And the answer that brain keeps arriving at, based on past experience, is probably not. So you stay quiet. Not because you have nothing to say, but because the risk of saying it and being misunderstood feels worse than saying nothing at all. Over time, this becomes a deeply ingrained habit, a default setting of silence that feels safer than expression, and it feeds itself. The quieter you are in casual situations, the more disconnected you feel from the people around you, which makes the next casual situation feel even more threatening. This fear of being misunderstood often goes all the way back to a specific kind of childhood experience. Moments where you said something genuine and it landed wrong, where you expressed a real thought and it was met with confusion or laughter or dismissal. Your brain stored those moments as evidence that your natural way of thinking and speaking does not fit into casual social environments. And it has been protecting you from repeating that experience ever since. Reason 5. Your relationship with silence is completely different from most people. For many people, silence in a conversation is uncomfortable. Something to be filled immediately, with anything, even if it is completely meaningless. But for people who struggle with small talk, silence often feels more natural and more honest than forced conversation. The problem is that most social environments treat silence as a signal that something is wrong, that someone is upset or awkward or not making an effort. So you find yourself in an impossible position. You do not want to fill the silence with meaningless words, but you know that staying silent will be misread. And that tension alone is enough to make the entire interaction feel overwhelming before it has even properly begun. Psychologists who study introversion and social anxiety have found that people who are uncomfortable with small talk are often far more comfortable with silence than the people around them are. They do not experience silence as empty. They experience it as full, as a space where real thinking happens and real presence is possible. But in a world that equates talkativeness with friendliness and confidence, being comfortable with silence puts you constantly at odds with the social expectations around you. And navigating that gap between who you naturally are and what social situations seem to demand is exhausting in a way that is very difficult to explain to someone who has never felt it. So what do you actually do with all of this? The first and most important step is to stop treating this as a personality flaw that needs to be corrected. Your brain learned this response because at some point in your life it made sense, and understanding that is the beginning of genuine change. The second step is to deliberately lower the stakes before you walk into a social situation. Remind yourself that no one is evaluating you as carefully as your brain believes they are. Most people are too caught up in their own internal experience to be closely monitoring yours. The third step is to stop trying to perform in small talk and start getting genuinely curious instead. Ask one real question and actually listen to the answer, because curiosity is far easier to access than performance, and it shifts the focus away from your own anxiety and onto the other person. The fourth step is to give yourself permission to recover after social interactions without guilt. If you feel drained after casual conversation, that is not weakness. That is your nervous system telling you it needs time to reset, and ignoring that need only makes the next interaction harder. If this video gave words to something you have been carrying for a long time, that is exactly what this channel is for. We use real psychology to explain why you think, feel, and behave the way you do. Not to label you, but to help you finally understand yourself. If that is what you are looking for, subscribe right now. Because the more you understand about your own mind, the less power these patterns have over you. I will see you in the next one.